Hey, what's up, brother Centron, brother Ballas, brother Pena, brother Garrett, brother Nelson? What's up? Let's give a couple minutes before I get started. I got you, man. I got you, Manny. That's right, Harley or die. Good morning, brother Nelson. As usual, I'm gonna give you a little live. It's not gonna be too long, so you can try to bear with me. When you get any medium or large drink from time. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I want to kind of get right into this, and hope everybody's doing well. Breast cancer awareness is going on all over the place. Please do support that. Very important. I want to start off today by I want to report on something that I read in the Gothamist, and it was talking about without federal aid, the New York State Comptroller predicts the end of public transit as we know it. The Comptroller's report authoritatively confirms that the New York riders face grave danger from federal austerity. I said that one wrong. Austerity. All right. Congress must stop the doomsday MTA cuts. That's obviously the messaging and the politics that we are caught up in right now. The truth of the matter is public transit is required to keep the economy moving. So they have to do something. And it appears that a lot of the politics is being played in order to win an election. All right. So anyway, let me move on to my main topic, which is just some conversation on a few things. Now, looking at the world today from our own little bubble that we're all in, we have no idea of how bad it is in other states and how bad the economy really is. Now, because traveling in other states is something that we don't do very often. The poverty level in these other states is very, very bad, and this whole thing with what's going on with COVID and everything else that's putting an impact on the country is really struck American cities very hard. And if it wasn't magnified before, it certainly is definitely magnified now. Since the pandemic began, the government has misspoken on many things, right? And the government has created a whole bunch of uncertainty. Now, the truth of the matter regarding what to do was not really known at first. And that's the bottom line. A lot of people say what they say and do what they do, but it wasn't really known at first what this was and what to do about what was here. Right? The truth of the matter regarding what to do was not really known. Agencies that were charged with putting out accurate information didn't put out the accurate information. Who got the blame? In our case, the TWU got the blame. Wrongfully, I might add. At some point, I have engaged the members of this page of many of the rights and confirmations, or should I say conferences, that the unions were involved in regarding this COVID-19. Now, if you recall, I did a live like maybe about twice a week. I did a live twice a week to give an update on what was going on, right? To the members of this page. And, there was credit given for giving the information, but the information was, I believe that nobody should take and be anything more than what we are. We're a team. We're a union together. Information was given, and information came from somewhere, and that point has to be said, right? In our case, like I said, the TWU got the blame for a lot of stuff, and I say deepest in my heart, wrongfully, got blamed wrongfully. At some point, the members of this page who was paying attention got the information from the conference calls, who was involved in those conference calls, and what the fight back was. Our very own Vice President Richard Davis and President Utano have been a part of everything concerning the fights, the stipulations, and the other protections that have moved us forward in these horrible times. Was it or is it enough? That was the question. The funny thing about answering that is nothing is really enough. And that's where the Monday morning quarterbacks come in and explain what should have been done. Many of us listening to this have come to the conclusion that they were right. But let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. They were wrong. And many are using the Monday morning quarterbacking system to campaign on things they could have never delivered. And that has to be spoken of right now. I see a lot of things on social media. I see a lot of things being said negatively, and not one of those things that they're talking about could they have delivered on. But this is not about really responding against those folks. Those folks who said what they said and do what they do, they know what they're doing. And I've always said this. My truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. Who's telling the truth? Everybody has a narrative to try to deliver, but I can tell you, in a lot of cases, the narratives that's out there is politically motivated. I'm not here to say what was right or what should have been. What I'm here to say is that I gave that many lives have been done twice a week to give those information, and it came from the president and the vice presidents of this union. It also came from the presidents and vice presidents of other unions as well. All right, of the ATU, of the dispatchers union, the TWU. We gave these informational sessions twice a week. Moving forward, here in MAPSTOA, in Manhattan and the Bronx, we do a question and answer session in every depot to get the information out and to arm yourselves with the tools that you need to know what's going on. And, that's basically all I want to say on that part. I just want to, give some kudos to some people. One being I want to give kudos to the whole team that's out here involved. I want to give kudos to Terrence Lane, and I want to make a report on what Terrence Lane spoke about as far as the white line on the buses. Now, he spoke about this on one of the pages on Facebook, and he's even spoke about it in some of the question and answer sessions. And because of some passengers' failure to remain behind the newly located white line and ensuing complaints by some of our sisters and brothers, the MAPSTOA Vice President Richard Davis addressed senior management and the issue, and management agreed to make an announcement regarding the white line, all right, over the PA system. Now, this is supposed to be done 4 times a day. The only thing I can tell you is to please let any union officer know if this announcement stops, and please do not operate your bus with anyone standing in front of it. That's the white line I'm talking about. If someone refuses to comply, it is your right to pull over and notify the command center of unsafe conditions. Protect yourself at all times, brothers and sisters. Very important. COVID filtration system. Now, the COVID filtration system, if you recall, anyone who might have been on the page with me during that time, I've spoken about this. These are the things that the union has fought for in many of the conference calls to protect the operators on the bus and to protect the personnel who work inside the garages and the depots. And what it was one of the things what we was fighting for was filtration system. Now, filters are being changed on every bus on a 15-day rotating schedule. Now, that's been increased from every 30 days. Then also we have what's called a MERV 10 filtration system, which has been installed in Manhattanville, but not yet in the buses. Now, the vendors have been contracted to create a MERV 10 like filter. This is supposed to be compatible and doesn't restrict the filtration system in any way that would impair or burn out the system on the buses. So these systems, basically these filtration systems, are supposed to be able to get these microbes that's in the air and filter them from circulating throughout the bus. All right, so that's something that we've spoken about in the summertime in these conference calls, and they're actually happening as we speak. Some reminders for you, and I'll take any questions offline afterwards. But some reminders, definitely, you make sure you're pre-tripping your bus. Make sure you're pre-tripping your bus. And make sure the bus has been disinfected within a 24-hour period. And how you're going to make sure that is there's a sticker that's on the right side of the front window. And it gives you the date that bus has been last disinfected. If there is no date, or if the date is not within 24 hours, make sure that you guys check with the yard man. And if you need to get the union involved, you will get the union involved. But I recommend that you knock down any buses that doesn't have or has not been disinfected within a 24-hour period. All right? The other thing that I want to share with you guys here today is a lot of times when we get here on the internet, we like to share what we learn and pass it on to our brethren or sisters. And we have to be very careful and mindful of the things that we are sharing, because they're practices and they're things that we negotiated over time and work very hard to maintain. And at this point, I'm talking about picking information. Our picking information should not be shared on social media at all. If you attended the division meeting this past Tuesday, you actually know why. I'm not going to speak of that right now, but if you see me in the street, I'll explain it to you. It's part of our contract. It's something that could be detrimental if you put how to pick and how to do things online using the portal, you could be impacting your union in a very negative way. So just be mindful of that. If you're involved in an accident in your personal vehicle, make sure you report that accident within 5 days to your depot, general dispatcher. They have a form for you to fill out, and the form goes in the book. And this is so that this will be your coverage when the Department of Motor Vehicle contacts New York City Transit and asks or inquire information to find out if you in fact notified the company of any accident that you had. Also, if you are arrested, you got to make sure that you notify the company, notify the depot. In the Department of Buses, we notify the depot as soon as you can. That's your 19A law, and it's also a rule inside of the New York City Transit Rule Book. Now a question came up, and it was a very good question inside of the division meeting regarding sick time and when calling out sick, because a lot of people felt like they was maybe having their HIPAA rules violated. And from the discussion that took place at the division meeting, I would say that in this case, maybe there was some violation of the HIPAA rules. But I have to tell you and remind every single member, when you're calling out sick from the depot, or when you're calling out sick from your particular job, your run, your route, whatever, you only have to give the crew dispatcher the nature of the illness, your address, the telephone number, and your sick location. Now, what I mean by the nature of the illness is very simple. I have maybe I have the flu. I don't know. Maybe I have something bothering my stomach. Maybe it's a tumor in my stomach. I don't know. I'm gonna call the crew dispatcher and either tell them I have some body aches, or I'm gonna tell them maybe I have the flu, because you don't know, right? That's the nature of the illness. The nature of the illness is something that might be related to the topic, but not necessarily the topic. So you just give the nature of, all right? Because we've learned that there were certain dispatchers who received the call weren't being honorable and were spreading people's information. And this happened a year ago. If I was to know that a year ago, then that person who took that call would have been brought up on charges. That's some serious business. You don't put people's information out there. If you're out on workers' compensation for any reason whatsoever, make sure you are talking to your reps for the procedures and timelines of your workers' compensation doctor's lines. It's very important, because a lot of the reasons why differentials has been denied is simply because timelines have not been maintained. And you got to make sure you maintain your timelines. And if it's the first day you get hospitalized, within 24 hours you got to turn in the once released from the hospital, you got to turn in the documents to your SEM of the depot. That's your safety environmental manager. And then you got to turn in your workers' comp doctor's line every time you go to your workers' comp doctor, and every time you are scheduled and go to the independent medical examiner. You got to bring back those forms, have a member of supervision sign those forms, and get a copy for your records. Very important. So, again, like I said, that was a very short report. What I would like everybody to do is chime in. I'll answer your questions offline. But like I said, I go around the system, and I hear some of the abuse that's being talked about the leadership, President Tony Utano, and also about our Vice President Richard Davis, and they weren't around, and that's simply not the case, simply not true. And the people who are putting it out there is, you need to know what the truth is. And the truth of the matter is that during the time that we was doing these conference calls, those were the folks that were in the room. Those were the folks that were doing the fight for all the stipulations and the things that we got to protect us. Those were the folks that were doing that. So they were around. The only person that was maybe not around is maybe some of your managers who took time off from work because they was on some type of split schedule where they were allowed to stay home and work from home and do things like that. But the union has been here. So with that being said, thank you, Brother Cintron. I meant to announce that. It's open enrollment. Matter of fact, I got one more thing there now. But number one, open enrollment, October 15th through November 15th, right? In the contract, you have a new contractual right to National Aetna medical plan, which will be in the medical Aetna Select plan effective January 1st. Okay, so make sure that you do your open enrollment, because if you don't do anything, your coverage will stay the same. All right. Also, I got this in the mail. Let me just put it out there for you guys to see if you're looking at it. It's basically what this is a dependent eligibility verification form. So what they're doing is they're giving us a phase 1 amnesty. So if somebody who doesn't belong on your coverage, we can voluntarily bring that up so they can be removed from the coverage, and it gives you some information on how to do that. It's also been this has also been documented on some of the pages. But if you got somebody who's over the age of 26 and you're still covering them, the authority has contracted out a third party in order to locate those individuals who ain't supposed to be there and take them off the coverage. So keep that in mind. Be safe, everyone. Continue to be safe, everyone, and support breast cancer and all types of cancer functions if you can. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.